It was 10:42 p.m., and the street outside was so quiet you could hear the hum of the flickering light above the stairwell. Emily sat on the frayed couch, her knees pulled to her chest, rocking her baby boy, Liam, whose thin wail was getting weaker. She'd tried to feed him, but the formula tin was empty. Even the last drops of milk she'd mixed earlier had been stretched too far. Her phone sat on the coffee table. She scrolled through her contacts, desperate. She'd already messaged her sister, an old friend from school, and even her landlord. No luck. Every, "I'm sorry, I wish I could help," felt like a stone sinking deeper in her chest. Her eyes landed on a name she didn't recognize, just Daniel, no last name. She frowned. Maybe it was from that temp job she'd had last year. Her thumb hovered, then tapped. She typed with trembling hands. Greater than hi, "I'm so sorry to bother you. I don't know who else to ask. My baby's hungry, and I can't afford formula tonight. If there's any way you could lend me $30, I promise I'll pay you back as soon as I can." She pressed send before she could second-guess herself. For a moment, the room was silent except for Liam's soft cries. She felt the guilt of what she'd just done, messaging someone she barely knew, maybe a wrong number, but desperation didn't ask for permission. Meanwhile, across the city in a sleek glass tower, Daniel Hart, CEO of Hart & West Holdings, was staring at his phone after another grueling day. His company had just closed a multi-million-dollar deal, but all he felt was an empty sort of relief. The message popped up on his personal number, which was almost never used by strangers. He read it twice, then a third time. Something about the rawness in the word stopped him from swiping it away. He got hundreds of requests for money in one form or another, emails, letters, social media, but this wasn't formatted, didn't have a GoFundMe link, no manipulation, no pitch. Just hunger. He typed back, "Greater than I think you may have the wrong person. But, are you serious? You really have nothing for the baby?" The reply came almost instantly. "Greater than yes. I'm sorry. I know I sound crazy. I didn't mean to text you if you're not the person I thought." Daniel stared at the ceiling. He could ignore this. He probably should ignore this. But he thought of his mother, a single parent who had raised him with little more than grit and stubborn hope. He thought of the nights they'd eaten toast for dinner so he could have lunch money for school. "Greater than where are you?" he typed. She hesitated. He could tell from the delay. Then, "Greater than I live near Pine and 8th. Small apartment over the laundromat. I'm not asking you to come here, just, I'm sorry." "Forget it." He grabbed his coat. When Emily heard the knock 20 minutes later, she froze. Peering through the peephole, she saw a tall man in a charcoal coat, holding a paper bag. He looked too sharply dressed to be anyone she knew. She cracked the door. "Emily?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "I'm Daniel. You texted me by mistake, I think. But I brought something." He lifted the bag. Inside were 2 cans of formula, diapers, and a package of baby wipes. Her throat tightened. I can't. You don't have to," he said, stepping inside when she moved back. He glanced around at the tiny apartment, the peeling wallpaper, the second-hand furniture, the laundry piled in the corner. Liam stirred in her arms, fussing again. "May I?" he asked, gesturing to the formula. She set it down, mixed it quickly, and handed the bottle to Liam, who latched on greedily. The room seemed to exhale. Daniel stayed quiet until the baby was full and drifting to sleep. Then he asked gently, "What happened?" Emily told him the short version, laid off from her waitress job, bills piling up. Welfare application still processing. The child's father had left months ago, no support. She was scraping by with a few cleaning gigs, but some weeks, it wasn't enough. "I wasn't trying to," she began, but her voice cracked. "I just didn't know what else to do." Daniel leaned forward. "I believe you, and I'm not here to judge you." He hesitated, then said, "You know, I grew up not far from here. My mom worked nights at a diner. We had our share of nights like this." Emily blinked. "You don't look like someone who's ever been desperate." He gave a small smile. "That's the thing about desperation. It doesn't always leave a scar you can see." Over the next hour, conversation unfolded in cautious layers. Daniel learned that Emily had been top of her class in high school before life pulled her off course. She learned that he ran a large company but rarely told personal stories to anyone. When Daniel finally stood to leave, Emily felt a strange ache, like something fragile had been built in that short time. He handed her a card. This is my direct number. Call me if you need help. I mean it. She shook her head. I can't take charity. Then think of it as an investment. In you. The words stayed with her long after the door closed. 2 weeks later, Emily's phone buzzed. Greater than, are you free tomorrow at 10? I have something I'd like to discuss. The next morning, she found herself in the polished lobby of Heartwarming West Holdings, wearing her best thrift store blouse. She was led to a corner office with a panoramic view. Daniel rose from behind the desk. Emily, I've been thinking. You're sharp, resourceful, and you don't give up easily. Those are qualities I look for in my employees. Her heart stuttered. Are you offering me a job? He nodded. Entry level, admin work. But steady pay, benefits. It's yours if you want it. Tears blurred her vision. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Months passed. Emily learned fast, working harder than anyone expected. Liam grew stronger, healthier. One evening, she found herself in Daniel's office again, not because she needed help, but because she'd been promoted to project coordinator. She set down a thank you card and a small tin of cookies she'd baked. For everything, she said softly. Daniel shook his head. You did this. I just opened a door. As she left, Emily thought about the night she'd sent that text, the wrong number that turned out to be exactly the right one. The baby's cries had shifted from soft fussing to a ragged, desperate wail. Emily sat on the edge of her couch, knees trembling, her hands pressed against her temples. The clock on the wall glowed 10:42 p.m. and the shadows in the small apartment stretched long and sharp. She had already searched the cupboards twice, though she knew there was nothing. The tin of formula was empty. She tried to stretch the last of it earlier, adding more water than she should, but her son, Liam, had pushed the bottle away after a few gulps. Emily's phone lay on the coffee table, its cracked screen reflecting the light from the lone lamp. She scrolled through her contacts, her sister, her old roommate, the kind neighbor from 2 floors down. Every message she'd sent earlier had been met with some variation of "I'm sorry. I wish I could help." Her thumb paused over a name she didn't remember saving, Daniel. No last name, no context. Maybe someone from that temp job last year. Maybe a wrong number. She stared at it for a moment, her heart pounding. Then, before she could talk herself out of it, she typed. Greater than, hi, I'm so sorry to bother you. I don't know who else to ask. My baby's hungry, and I can't afford formula tonight. If there's any way you could lend me $30, I promise I'll pay you back. Her finger hovered, then tapped send. She immediately regretted it, pressing the phone to her chest. Liam's cries softened into hiccups, his little fists clutching her shirt. Meanwhile, across the city, Daniel Hart, CEO of Heartwarming West Holdings, was reviewing contracts in his corner office. The skyline glimmered beyond the glass, but his focus was on the numbers in front of him, numbers with too many zeros to feel real. When his phone buzzed, he glanced at the screen, expecting a message from a colleague. Instead, he saw Emily's words. He read them twice. Then again, he received plenty of requests for money through official channels, but those were polished proposals or carefully written pleas. This wasn't that. There was no link, no sob story with photographs. Just a few raw, unguarded sentences. He replied, greater than, I think you might have the wrong number. But, are you serious? You really have nothing for your baby? A minute passed. Then, greater than, yes, I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have messaged you. Daniel stared at the reply. He could delete the thread and move on. He could send a polite, good luck. But instead, he typed, greater than, where are you? When the knock came 20 minutes later, Emily froze. She looked through the peephole and saw a tall man in a charcoal coat, holding a paper bag. He didn't look like anyone from her neighborhood. She opened the door a crack. Emily, he asked. Yes, I'm Daniel. You texted me. He lifted the bag. I brought something. Inside were 2 cans of formula, a pack of diapers, and baby wipes. Emily's eyes burned. I can't. You don't have to, he said simply, stepping inside when she moved aside. He noticed the peeling wallpaper, the sagging couch, the laundry basket in the corner. Liam whimpered softly, and Daniel's gaze softened. Let's get him fed, he said. Minutes later, Liam was drinking from the bottle, his tiny hands gripping Emily's fingers. The sound of his contented swallowing was almost enough to make her cry. When he finished, Daniel asked gently, what happened? Emily told him the bare facts, job loss, bills piling up, no child support, waiting for welfare approval. I wasn't trying to scam anyone, she said quickly. I just didn't know what else to do. Daniel nodded slowly. I believe you. Part 2. The offer. They spoke for nearly an hour. Emily learned that Daniel had grown up not far from her neighborhood, raised by a single mother who'd worked nights at a diner. You don't look like someone who's ever had to worry about money, Emily said. Daniel smiled faintly. That's the thing about struggle, you don't always wear it on your face. When he finally left, he handed her a business card. This is my direct number. Call me if you need anything. And I mean it. Emily nodded, but after closing the door, she whispered to herself, I can't keep taking charity. 2 weeks later, her phone buzzed with a message from him. Greater than, are you free tomorrow morning? I have something to discuss. She almost didn't go, but the thought of an unopened door nagged at her. The next day, Emily stepped into the polished marble lobby of Hart & West Holdings. She felt small, her thrift store blouse too thin, her shoes too scuffed for the gleaming floors. A receptionist guided her to the top floor, where Daniel's office overlooked the city. He stood when she entered. Emily, glad you came. She sat stiffly. What is this about? I've been thinking, he began. You're resourceful, determined, and you didn't give up when things got hard. Those are qualities I value in my team. She blinked. Are you offering me a job? Entry level, administrative work, he said. Steady pay, benefits. It's yours if you want it. Emily felt her breath hitch. A job, not a handout. A way forward. I don't know what to say, she murmured. Say yes. Emily said yes. The weeks that followed were a blur. She learned quickly, staying late to master new tasks. Her paycheck covered rent and groceries. For the first time in months, she didn't fall asleep with her stomach knotted in fear. Liam grew stronger, heavier in her arms. His cheeks filled out, and he learned to giggle, a bright, bubbling sound that made Emily's heart ache with relief. Months later, Emily found herself in Daniel's office again, but this time for a different reason. She had just been promoted to project coordinator. She placed a small tin of homemade cookies on his desk. What's this? He asked. A thank you, she said, for opening that door. Daniel leaned back, studying her. You walked through it, that was all you. Emily smiled. Still, thank you. As she left his office, she thought about the night she had sent that text, the wrong number that turned out to be the right one.